Welcome back everybody to yet another Yomi FGC video. Today we're going to be analyzing how top Mei players fight Ramlethal. And to start it off, let's talk about Roundstart. So when Mei is starting off the game, she's mainly worried about moves like far slash, 6p, 5k, 2k, jump back slash, it's the air dash back, jump slash, you know. All those moves that are very big, very fast, and hard to punish. Looking at what Yuu did at the start of this match is going to set the tone really well. He's immediately pushing and trying to remove important options from Ramlethal. Because notice here, he does Dolphin. You want to know what Dolphin beats? It beats far slash, it beats 2s, it beats jump back slash, and it draws out buttons in the future like 5k, 2k, 6p, which could be punished in the future with. It could be punished with things like 5h or 2s and stuff like that, which will be very good to control the Roundstart against Ramlethal. Because this is actually pretty much your ideal range against her. Because you have similar frame data, but she has much more disjoints. So that's how we're going to be building off of things here. So once again, Mei is going to use a Dolphin here to force Ramlethal to block. So we get a knockdown, and immediately we're going into Stagger Pressure. In case you haven't seen my Stagger Pressure video, I recommend watching it, but essentially it's just kind of not immediately cancelling into Dolphins. And there are multiple reasons for doing this. And it's mainly that Ramlethal's Dolphin RPS options are really strong, and Mei has to do some kind of committal thing to punish like the primary option. Yuu is actually doing something very smart during Dolphin RPS, which we haven't seen yet. Anytime they land a Dolphin on their block, they will neutral jump, which covers the two scariest options that Ram can do, which is her far slash and her 2s. This will draw out things like jumps to catch you after the Dolphin, and stuff like that, or even just doing nothing, or a bunch of other options, even just doing like a 2k and then doing a 6p on our landing. This will draw out things that are quite passive and could allow you to keep pushing your turn depending on how you wanna run things. Welcome to the corner. So let's point out two things that just happened in this interaction. For one, notice that Yuu is not using any FD. There are two reasons for this. For one, Mei, or this Ramlethal, is not really trying to throw us at all. And she's a meter battery. So the second she gets any meter at all, and she gets it really fast, she can run a fucking train on you. So you have to try and keep her meter in check. And the big way of doing that is obviously just not using FD to give her free meter. And also, if they're not throwing, so there's not much really reason to do it until a certain situation we'll talk about later. As always, the one rule against Ram, you cannot jump over basically anything because her 6 speed goes kind of hard. So remember last round, Yuu did Dolphin Roundstart to be a far slash, 2s, or jump back JS. And the Ramlethal did a block. So we're going to see this round how the Ram wants to adapt to this. So let's just see what they do. So they walked back. They're going to continue playing passive. And that's generally what trend they're setting this whole round. So if you're wondering why you may have wanted to go for the dash block here, there's a couple of reasons. So reason number one is that they will dash block into this move if they go for it, and it's not a really big deal if you block it because that's a cancel to a special move, and that will start something else which we'll talk about in a little bit once defense is more talked about. And if the Ramlethal chooses to walk backwards and you ran forward at the same time, well, you won an interaction because she's backing off near the corner and you're getting more control of the stage. You have more room to back up it next time. You'll be in her face to just push some big old buttons. It's going to be very very nice. So we're once back in a knockdown situation. Ramlethal is still not throwing. I don't really know what they're going for that backdash, to be honest with you. Alright, amazing air throw. Holy shit, that was really cool. So, notice here they did a neutral jump. Because remember, this Ram wants to do 2s or to do far slash. And those are very powerful options that lead to huge combos and control the fuck out of you. So using neutral jump to cover both of these is going to go a long way in messing up Ramlethal. Now notice here that Mei is using a strategy to play around 6Ps. So let's say, for example, the Ram is going to try 6P the second you land in their face. So you can just like jump in to make them want to do a 6P, and then they have to do it the second you're in this spot, right? Because if you don't, you're just gonna land a JH and then they'll be forced to eat mix-ups and stuff like that. So instead, you can air dash backwards to make the JH, to make the 6P whiff, and then immediately go for whiff punish. Obviously, they could punish you by doing a delay 6P or just going for an air to air, but for the time being, that is a really good strategy. You'll see a lot of good Mei players in general using the Pete 6P spammers. Totsugeki. Neutral jump continues. Yuu is playing this incredibly well. They might be losing right now, but as their game plan continues to work, I think they'll do good. So let's see you in the next game. Alright, welcome to game 2. Keep in mind, by the last 2 rounds, Ramlethal has played passive every single time, so there's really no reason for Mei not to dash in. And of course, and keep in mind when we look at the hitbox of JS, it's still 6Pable if you dashed in as she jumped backwards, because if you get your 6P to hit in this little zone here, you'll get your counter hit. If you obviously try a 6P with a tip, it doesn't work, so you have to get in her face to make things like this work. Just to show you what I mean, remember, they dash forward here, the Ram jump backwards. And because of the fact that they're in your face here, you can just line your 6P and get a full combo. Unfortunate that they're going for the meat combos from the last video. So the stagger pressure continues. Now there's a couple of reasons for doing this. At high level, people are really good at reacting to dashes and using things like fuzzy jumps to avoid throws, which I recommend watching my defense video on. And that's one reason, so that we just have less time to react to things that happen. Like off of close slash, you need to run a little far to reach them and stuff like that, especially off of FD. For grab, I mean, after jab, with grab, it's just instant. Like there's really no gap in between a lot of these without FD. And another reason to do this is to play around most robotos. Because if you're doing this, and you dash block into them, they're very tempted to do Mortal Bottle to get in between your frame traps. And getting a Mortal Bottle between a lot of this stuff is incredibly difficult. Once again, the neutral jump continues, and to abuse the sheer passiveness of this Ram player, you're going to start seeing more beach balls. You know, I don't fully recommend it, I'll be honest, I'm not a big beach ball fan, but I will say it's working pretty well in this whole set here. I'm surprised I didn't do a PRC variant to full combo, that's fine. Alright, Daro. Amazing instant block. If you instant block either of these moves, it leaves you straight in their face and you get a throw afterwards. Let's talk about their offense, because it doesn't look optimal, but it's still very workable. Because the meta right now for Mei is generally going for CSO2G. Here's what it looks like basically. He's doing empty jump, close slash. It beats wake up throw, and is auto-timed. But, you know, it's different. It's a different kind of strategy. It's not my favorite. I prefer OTGs in general, but I can't really diss him. And there's more things you can do off of it, such as like jump. You just go for a low. You can jump. Go for an air dash backwards here. You can go for just weird mix-ups in general. You can line go for overhead kiss. Like the 2K whiffs, but the close slash hits, I believe. And then just get full combo here. And amazing burst bait. I can't really diss it too much, actually. It's auto time, so I can't actually diss it too much. So I'm just going to assume that Yuu is going to dash in once again, and that the Ram is going to do nothing. Okay, so Yuu is just seeing if they're going to change it up. They weren't really changing it much. Now, let me talk about this situation here. Ram's far slash is really dumb, but there is one good thing about it, is that it's actually pretty laggy on whiff. So if you get a jump over this, you're not going to get 6P'd for trying to land on top of them. That's why here you're going to see, well, he didn't do it, but you could have landed with JH, just gotten some pretty clean mix-ups. Okay. So this is actually really bad for Ram. Now they can't cancel their far slashes on block into special, or into heavy slashes. So you're going to see here, for example, well, it doesn't really matter now. We'll see once they block. Okay, 6P, unfortunate. So in this situation here, there's a couple of options you can take on defense. So generally, you can do something like this, and then like frame trap their jumps with a 5K or with 2K. It kind of depends what they're looking for. But if they want to cover your jump, they ever have to do this or this. And or they just jump in the air and catch you with this. But if they do something like, they don't get their sword back, so they only get to loop this once and you have to dash back in, which could be abusable by you. Can't get it. Never mind. Anyway, and on top of that, you have the option of dashing out if they're doing the JGPPPP here. So that's a way of getting out if they're pretty prepared just to do things like in this. You could just dash right under. If they're also just like doing this, I recommend just using FD on the kick just to push you out farther, make some space between the two of you. That's like the one spot where I like to use FD against Ramlethal, or if you're just getting super chipped out, I guess. Oh, so after kind of minus specials on block, there's this really cool little mini game you can play where you can just run in and grab them if you think they're not going to block afterwards. But if they think that they could just backdash or jump or mash, but you can instead run up and like close slash them. Like if they're minus and they try and mash, you run up close slash, you get a counter hit, you get a full combo like you just saw there. Now something else interesting just happened. More stagger pressure. I want to remind you guys that the Ram actually has to take a big commitment to get out of this type of situation here. And keep in mind, they pressed far slash because they think, okay, this motherfucker is just going to keep resetting over. They're going to keep jabbing, they're going to keep close slashing, they're going to do 2D. And I'm just going to mash. And what they did, they mashed, and Yuu was ready with the beautiful S-Dolphin to counter hit them. And now to get, either they can throw them for guaranteed, not guaranteed, but usually it works. Oh, no full combo, unfortunate. And they're mashing again because they're conditioned now. Remember, Yuu wasn't doing a Dolphin at all for like the first game or two. So this is a big play they can make. I'll be honest, this Ram, she's a little spooked right now. Now remember, the last time they did an attack here, they got counter hit Dolphin. So they're definitely just going to hold that. Okay, 6k overhead, 6k overhead. Oh my god, no RC off of it too. Okay, bullying. If you're curious, this XP here is to hard call out far slashes and dashes. Like this, for example. Should have no meter. And notice as well that he's really mixing up his RPS options. Like he's not just neutral jumping, even though it beats a lot of options. Like you can jump over things, you can jump backwards to just evade everything. You can backdash to beat like a 2S. You can even go for Orca, which top players don't generally go for, but it's a good strat. And stuff like that. There's a lot of things you could go for to keep the Ram on their toes and just kind of guess. Holy shit. Yuu is so good, dude. Okay, catching the backdash. And you saw him dashing just straight out of the corner there. If they have no reason to keep you locked down here, right? Like, why would you hold it? Just jump or dash. You don't have to accept these things. And you get a bigger advantage. Because now, every time they block the far slash, they have to either react to the flip kick, which you can just kind of punish on reaction. I mean, like the special moves the Ram can do. Like, they can do this move, which you can react to after the far slash. They could do Daro, which is this move, which is minus in that mini game I mentioned before. Or they can go into Rekka's, or they can throw Daver's sword, and just stuff like that. It's all kind of committal in a way. You can punish, especially with how Yuu's instant blocks are looking. Just having no heavy slash to deal with just makes things significantly easier to play around. So after 3k, no pressure, but it's because there's more to Botto. So there's no safe jumps or anything. You kind of just let him be if you don't want to play things too safe, like too unsafe. Oh, that was so cool. What a cool setup. So basically, he's backdashing here so that since Ram didn't immediately commit to the burst, you just backdash. You got the OTG beach ball for the kill. And reminder, OTGs do extra damage, so this is almost guaranteed to kill. So we're back at it again, boys. Round start. Let's just see what happens. Right now, he's calling out a lot of frontal hitting moves, because 6B hits, like, beats moves that hit in the middle of your body. So generally, that's just kind of what's happening right now. Okay. Back to a knockdown situation. Let's just see what happens. Staggers. Ooh, okay. 5P, 6P, just classic frame traps. So, I don't know what the 5P was going for there. So, right now you see Ram is trying to keep pressure going with the 2K frame traps. I think I have to hold this one, actually. I'm not sure. Oh, amazing tech. Holy shit. A lot of jumps. And I guarantee you, he's about to air dash back here. The second he gets in your face, or the second Yuu gets into Ram's face when they jump, they're going to immediately do something that doesn't lose a 6P. So it says JD over them, or like air dash backwards, or just do nothing really. There's a lot of options that play around 6P as long as you don't like commit to a JH basically. Because in this matchup, 6P is so high reward and so scary. You just don't want to fuck with that, you know what I mean? Ooh, committal. And keep in mind, Yuu plays incredibly safe. Anytime he's going for a commitment really, like it kind of makes sense, right? Like he had one bar. And the Ram is not going to mash, right? So you just PRC. If they jump over it, you PRC. If they backdash, you PRC. And you even get a hit fair. It's really cool. And to be honest, it's like really respectable how safe they play. We're not going for commitments at all. They're not giving them free hits. Ooh. No 6P. I'm hurt. Oh, that... Okay. Holy shit, that was cool. And now we get a clean safe jump. You can do things like 2K afterwards. You can go for overhead kiss, but he didn't really do it. I think he's just playing as safe as possible against Ram, because one hit against Ram leads to like a fucking hell of a lot of damage. So, can't really blame him for taking the safe route. Oh, okay. Fever. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful gameplay. And I got that dolphin there basically by waiting for something to miss and then just immediately whiff punishing it. I think it is, but you guys kind of get the point of what's going on. I hope you guys learned something interesting. Comment and subscribe. Good day, y'all. Bye-bye.